Hey guys, this is Tomac Black for Casual Photoshop, and today I want to talk about the pen tool in Photoshop. The pen tool is a very cool thing that Photoshop has, of course, because, yeah. Um, Basically the way that it works is it uses what's called vectors, and vector paths to make shapes and make selections. So the way that it works is very simply, you'll click to make an anchor, you click again to make another anchor, you click a third time, and it'll make another anchor. Then when you hover over here, I don't know if you can see this, you should be able to if you're on a high quality, right next to the little arrow, there's a little O, and if you hit that, it'll close the path. You can do different things with it. It can be addition, subtraction, invert, or no, not invert, only and invert. We're just going to be dealing with addition for now. And then with this, we can make a selection, for example. Go over here, take our brush, fill it in. Whoops, I accidentally had the type tool. We can also, like I said, to use the addition, the other modes, we go like this, and then we click outside, and then we go over here, and then this would be subtraction. And now let's say we make a selection, and it'll be just that. So that's how that works. The other modes do different things. So if I go like this, it'll be that only what I've made goes. Just a moment. Sorry, so I'm back. So that only this part, so that this is on that, but then this is on, we should put that on addition, so then if I make a selection now, it only selected that. You can see how that works. And then we have this. The other one is invert, which I'll show you how that works quickly. And then this is just like select everything other than what I'm selecting, basically. So that it's a little bit complicated. You can sort of see how it works. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Anyway. So that is that. We can, if you hold Control or Command on a Mac, it'll bring up the Direct Selection tool, which you can also go to by going to this tool, and then you can select the points, and you can hit delete to delete them. Anyway, so we'll go to the next part of the paths, and that's making curves. So the way that you make a curve is I'll make an anchor here, and I'll click and hold, and remember I'm not letting go, and then I keep pulling. And I don't know if you can really see my mouse so well. It may look like I'm just holding it there, but I'm not. I'm pulling, and if you see, I don't know if you can see it, there's two handles coming out that are identical to each other that are affecting the curve. Now this, when I pull out this way, this handle mimics this one, just the opposite, and that will affect this curve. We can then go like this and move this around as well, by hitting Control and moving it. Also, if we hit Control and Alt, it'll just move that. Also, if we go just Alt, it'll move it. And then, what we can also do is if we hit Alt right on there, you see there's a little triangle, you'll pull that one. What that does is, let's say without it, we have it like this. If we were to then, let's say we want it to go like over here and make it a curve, if I were to click here, this is what happens. And the reason why that happens is because this one is still here, and this one is affecting this side of the curve, which can be useful sometimes so that we have a simpler path for making a curve, but in this case, it just makes it not work. The way that we can fix that is, one, we can hit Alt and then move this over here, but that can be annoying, and then we have to zoom in and make sure it's perfect. But what we can also do is if we hold Alt and we hover, and now it's good. And we can do, and it's put that handle right on top of it, like exactly on top of it. Now, we can go like this. Then hit N to go there, go fill. Make it this blue. Now we have that. That's how that works. And then you can make very, very complicated things with it, like this squirrel, for example. I can go around his head. Whoops. I can go around his head and his body. And then make selection. And then go M, I click fill, color, and then I can make this a brown. And now we have a squirrel shape. And actually, if we were going to make that kind of squirrel, whoops, there's actually a better way to do that, and I'll show you how. So first thing that we can do is I'm just going to Alt double click this new layer and delete this layer. We don't really need that. Then, if you saw, I had my pen tool. If you looked over here, there are two things that you can click on. One of them is this thing with the points in the path, and then a filled in shape, and then one is points in the path and a little fountain pen. This just makes paths, but if we go over here, this will make a new vector layer. Now what vector layers are layers where they're just basically completely filled with color or gradient or pattern, and then they're masked, and I'll explain about masks in another video. There'll be an annotation somewhere on the screen linking to it. And that their mask is a vector mask, which is just a path. That the way that this works is that we have our color picked over there, which is usually a foreground color, and it'll often modify the foreground color to be whatever it is. There we go. Pick a nice, I don't really like this one, like this darker blue. Now, we can go like this. Whoops. And now I have this. And the great thing about this is, for example, if I were to go like this, make a selection, a new layer, go fill, and then I were to transform it, I just hit Control T. It ends up looking all pixelated and blurry, and even if I chose a different transform option, it's still not going to look exactly how I want it. But the great thing about a vector layer is that it's infinitely transformable. So if I go like this, it's still perfect. And if I zoom in, it is actually the pixels. But then it still has all of the great things about being a layer in Photoshop. And I'll just resize this back down so that I can have blending options, all that kind of stuff. So I can go over here, blending options, do stuff like a drop shadow, an inner shadow, of course, gradient overlay, all that stuff. All of this stuff I can still modify. I can modify and I can still transform it. And it transforms perfectly. So, that's that's that. One last thing that I do want to mention is about how I often use vector layers in Photoshop. Is often I'll do something where I'll take an image like this of a squirrel that I kind of stole from Google Images, and then I'll trace it like I did before. I can just go back. And also, if you accidentally made a path instead of a vector layer, then go Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. You could also make it a gradient or a pattern. Actually, in this case, I'll make it a gradient, just to show you. Let's say we have this, and then make this full opacity. I have a tutorial on gradients, which should be somewhere as an annotation on the screen at the moment. So you can make this darker. And there's lots of different ways to do this. And then, for example, if I wanted to add some shadow to it, I can do something like this. Which looks really nice, and stuff like that. And I actually have lots of things that I've done like that. Anyway, so that is the path tool, the pen tool in Photoshop. Thanks for watching. Bye.